The idea of using light as a medium for interdimensional contact with crypto-dimensional beings, extraterrestrial entities, or beings from other galaxies, realms, or universes is a fascinating blend of science, speculation, and metaphysical inquiry. While there's no definitive evidence supporting such contact, I'll explore the concept by grounding it in current scientific understanding, speculative possibilities, and relevant cultural or esoteric perspectives. Given the complexity of the topic, I'll address the plausibility of light as a medium, its theoretical roles, and the challenges involved, while keeping the response concise yet comprehensive. Your scientific context: light as a medium. Light, as electromagnetic radiation, is a fundamental carrier of information in the universe. It's how we observe distant stars, detect exoplanets, and communicate across vast distances. Here's how light could theoretically relate to interdimensional or extraterrestrial contact. To read light as a communication tool. In the physics of light, photons, travels at the speed of light, 299,792,458 ms in a vacuum, and is used in technologies like radio signals, lasers, and optical communication. Zudi, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, uses radio waves, a form of light, to listen for signals from advanced civilizations, as seen in projects like the Allen Telescope Array. Interstellar potential. Focused laser beams could theoretically transmit messages across galaxies, as they're less prone to dispersion than radio waves. The Breakthrough Listen initiative explores this for detecting alien signals. If beings in another galaxy were advanced, they might use modulated light, e.g. pulsed lasers, to communicate. Interdimensional speculation. In theoretical physics, light interacts with matter and energy across dimensions in models like string theory, which posits extra-spatial dimensions beyond our 3+1 space-time. If interdimensional beings exist, they might manipulate light in ways we can't yet detect, such as altering its frequency or phase to encode information across dimensions. Light in quantum and exotic physics. Quantum entanglement. Photons can be entangled, meaning their states are linked across vast distances. Some speculate this could enable instantaneous communication, though current science, e.g., the no communication theorem, suggests entanglement can't transmit information faster than light. Still, advanced beings might exploit quantum properties we don't yet understand. Wormholes and higher dimensions. If wormholes or higher dimensional pathways exist as theorized in general relativity, light could theoretically traverse them, carrying signals to other realms or universes. However, this remains speculative, as wormholes are unstable in current models. Holographic principle. Some physicists propose our universe is a projection of information encoded on a 2D surface, with light playing a key role in manifesting reality. Interdimensional contact might involve decoding or manipulating this holographic light. 3 challenges with light-based contact. Limit distance and time. Even with light-speed communication, signals from another galaxy, e.g. Andromeda 2, 5 million light-years away, would take millions of years to reach us, making real-time contact impractical unless faster-than-light FTL mechanisms exist. Detection limits. Our technology may not recognize signals from advanced beings, especially if they use exotic wavelengths, e.g. gamma rays, infrared, or multidimensional properties of light. Interdimensional barriers. If crypto-dimensional beings exist in realms with different physical laws, light as we know it might not function the same way, requiring entirely new frameworks to detect or interpret their signals. Esoteric and cultural perspectives. Beyond science, light holds symbolic and practical significance in metaphysical and speculative contexts, which may align with the query's reference to crypto-dimensional beings, or realms. Lays light in spiritual traditions. Many esoteric traditions, e.g. Gnosticism, New Age, ancient Egyptian mysticism, associate light with divine or interdimensional communication. For example, the term Setepen Ra, from your earlier query, links to Ra, the Egyptian sun god, symbolizing light as a conduit for divine wisdom. In New Age beliefs, light is often seen as a medium for contacting higher beings, e.g., ascended masters, Pleiadians, through meditation, channeling, or light codes, vibrational patterns encoded in light. The number 711, also mentioned earlier, is an angel number tied to spiritual awakening, suggesting light could be a metaphorical or literal bridge to other realms. Crypto-dimensional beings. The term crypto-dimensional might refer to entities existing in hidden dimensions or non-physical realms, as explored in ufology, occultism, or speculative fiction. Light phenomena, e.g., orbs, unexplained lights in the sky, are often reported in UFO encounters, as seen in declassified UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, reports from the Pentagon, e.g., 2021 UAP Task Force report. Some theorize these beings use light-based technologies, e.g., plasma fields, biophoton emissions, to manifest or communicate, potentially aligning with reports of light beings in paranormal accounts. Science fiction and speculation. In sci-fi, light is often a medium for interdimensional contact, e.g., Contact by Carl Sagan, where radio signals initiate alien communication. Works like Stargate depict light-based portals for interdimensional travel, suggesting advanced civilizations could manipulate light to access other realms. Speculative theories, like those on X posts, propose that light could be a frequency key to unlock dimensional gateways, though these lack empirical support. Plausibility assessment. Scientific plausibility. Light is a plausible medium for interstellar communication within our universe, as it's already used in SETI and laser-based experiments. However, interdimensional contact is less plausible due to our limited understanding of extra dimensions or alternate universes. If such realms exist, light might play a role if it can interact across dimensional boundaries, but this is purely theoretical. Technological feasibility. Advanced civilizations, type 2 or 3 on the Kardashev scale, could use high-energy light, EEG, gamma-ray bursts, coherent lasers, to signal across galaxies or manipulate space-time. But detecting or interpreting such signals requires technology far beyond our current capabilities. Metaphysical possibility. In esoteric frameworks, light is a compelling metaphor and potential mechanism for contacting non-physical or crypto-dimensional beings, but this relies on untestable assumptions about consciousness and reality. Challenges. The biggest hurdles are the vast distances for galactic communication, the speculative nature of interdimensional physics, and the lack of evidence for crypto-dimensional beings. Even if light were used, distinguishing intentional signals from natural phenomena, e.g., pulsars, cosmic background radiation, is difficult. Here's my thoughts. Light is a plausible candidate for contact with extraterrestrial beings within our universe, given its role in carrying information and its universal presence. Projects like SETI demonstrate its practical use, and advanced civilizations might exploit light in ways we can't yet imagine, e.g., quantum or multidimensional signaling. For interdimensional or crypto-dimensional contact, light's role is more speculative, but not implausible, especially if higher dimensions involve electromagnetic interactions we don't yet understand. Esoteric traditions and anecdotal reports, e.g., UAP sightings add intrigue but lack rigor. The concept aligns with both scientific curiosity and human imagination, as seen in the symbolic resonance of light in spiritual contexts like Setepenra or 711. However, without empirical evidence or breakthroughs in physics, EEG, detecting extra dimensions, the idea remains on the fringe of possibility. Future discoveries in quantum optics, string theory, or UAP research could shift this perspective. But for now, it's a blend of plausible science and speculative wonder. Do your next steps if you'd like, I can. Search X for recent discussions on light-based communication or UAP-related theories. Dive deeper into a specific aspect, e.g. quantum entanglement, Egyptian mysticism, or SETI's methods. Generate a diagram illustrating how light could theoretically facilitate interdimensional contact. Explore related topics, like the physics of wormholes or the symbolism of light in spiritual traditions. Please let me know your preferences, or if you have specific details about the context, e.g., a particular theory or sighting, to focus the discussion. Psionics, in fantasy and science fiction contexts, refers to the use of mental abilities or psychic powers to interact with the world, often without the need for physical or technological intervention. These powers can include telepathy, telekinesis, precognition, and other abilities typically associated with the mind and consciousness. Here's a more detailed breakdown. Core concepts: mental abilities. Psionics is fundamentally about using the mind to influence the world. This can manifest in various ways, such as moving objects with the mind, telekinesis, communicating with others through thought, telepathy, or gaining knowledge of the future, precognition. Beyond the physical, psionic powers often bypass conventional physical laws and limitations, suggesting a realm beyond the purely material world. Source of power. While some interpretations link psionics to a specific energy source, others see it as an inherent ability of the mind or consciousness, not always explicitly defined. In some settings, psionics is a clearly defined system with rules and limitations, while in others, it's more of a general term for unusual mental abilities. Distinguishing psionics from magic. While both psionics and magic involve supernatural abilities, psionics is often presented as being more rooted in the mind and consciousness, whereas magic can have more diverse origins and mechanisms. In some settings, psionics is seen as a more scientific or natural form of power, while magic is seen as more mystical or supernatural. Examples in fiction. Dungeons & Dragons features psionic classes like the Scion and Mystic, with powers like telekinesis, telepathy, and various mental defenses. Star Wars, the Force used by Jedi and Sith, is often considered a psionic ability, allowing for telekinesis, precognition, and other mental powers. Even many characters like Jean Grey possess psionic abilities such as telekinesis, telepathy, and mind control. Star Trek. Vulcans are known for their telepathic abilities and mental disciplines, which can be considered psionic in nature. In essence, psionics represents the realm of mental powers and their potential influence on the world, often explored in fantasy and science fiction as a unique form of power with its own set of rules, limitations, and expressions. According to various online sources, Hall and Walter Russell, while also addressing speculative connections to extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or crypto-terrestrial civilizations. Given the speculative and esoteric nature of the topic, I'll ground the discussion in historical context and philosophical ideas, while noting where evidence is limited or controversial. The ether, a cosmic thread from ancient Egypt to modern esotericism. The concept of the ether has long served as a bridge between the material and the spiritual, a subtle medium that permeates the universe and facilitates metaphysical, psychic, and paranormal phenomena. From the sacred cosmologies of ancient Egypt to the philosophical inquiries of Plato, the occult revival of the 19th century, and speculative modern theories of plasma light beings and extraterrestrial intelligences, the ether has been a persistent idea, evolving across cultures and eras. This essay explores the historical and philosophical trajectory of the ether, highlighting its role in metaphysics, its association with psychic and paranormal phenomena, and the contributions of key figures like Helena Blavatsky, Rudolf Steiner, Nikola Tesla, Manly P. Hall, and Walter Russell. It also considers speculative connections to advanced interdimensional or crypto-terrestrial civilizations. The ether in ancient Egypt, a divine medium. In ancient Egyptian cosmology, the universe was animated by a divine order known as Ma'at, which governed both physical and spiritual realms. While the term ether was not explicitly used, the concept of a subtle, all-pervading substance is evident in their understanding of Nu or Nun, the primordial waters from which creation emerged. The Egyptians believed that divine forces such as the Neteru, gods, operated through a medium that connected the material world to the divine. This medium facilitated communication with spiritual entities and the manifestation of sacred energies, akin to later notions of the ether. The Book of the Dead and other texts describe rituals where priests accessed higher states of consciousness, possibly interacting with non-physical entities or forces. These practices suggest an early metaphysical framework where a subtle medium, comparable to the ether, enabled psychic phenomena, such as clairvoyance or communication with the dead. The Egyptian emphasis on the Kai, spiritual double, and Ba, soul, further implies a belief in a non-material plane that interacts with the physical, a concept that resonates with later esoteric interpretations of the ether. Plato and the Greek philosophical ether. In ancient Greece, the ether emerged as a philosophical concept, particularly in the works of Plato, 427 to 347 BCE. Plato's cosmology, as outlined in Timaeus, describes the universe as a living entity animated by a divine intelligence. He posited the existence of a fifth element, the ether or quinta essentia, distinct from earth, water, air, and fire. For Plato, the ether was a pure celestial substance associated with the heavens and the realm of the gods. It was the medium through which divine ideas manifested in the material world, bridging the physical and metaphysical. Plato's student Aristotle further developed the concept, describing the ether as an eternal, unchangeable substance that filled the cosmos and facilitated the motion of celestial bodies. This classical understanding of the ether laid the groundwork for later metaphysical traditions, where it was seen as a conduit for spiritual and psychic phenomena. The Greek philosophers' emphasis on the ether as a divine medium influenced Neoplatonists like Plotinus, who viewed it as a vehicle for the soul's ascent to the divine, a precursor to later occult ideas. The ether in the modern occult revival. The 19th century marked a resurgence of interest in the ether, driven by both scientific and esoteric developments. In science, the ether was hypothesized as a medium for the propagation of light waves, a theory that persisted until Einstein's relativity disproved it in the early 20th century. However, in esoteric traditions, the ether took on a broader metaphysical significance, becoming a cornerstone of occult philosophies like theosophy and anthroposophy. Helena Blavatsky, 1831 to 1891, the founder of the Theosophical Society, was instrumental in reintroducing the ether as a metaphysical concept. In her seminal work, The Secret Doctrine, 1888, Blavatsky described the ether as a universal, subtle substance that permeates all levels of existence, from the physical to the spiritual. She drew heavily on Hindu and Buddhist cosmologies, particularly the concept of Akasha, a Sanskrit term for a cosmic medium that records all events and thoughts, the Akashic records. For Blavatsky, the ether was the medium through which psychic phenomena, such as telepathy, clairvoyance, and astral projection occurred. She claimed to have been guided by Mahatmas or spiritual masters, who communicated through the ether from their abode in Tibet, suggesting its role in interdimensional contact. Blavatsky's theosophy also introduced the idea of root races and ancient civilizations like Atlantis and Lemuria, which she believed possessed advanced spiritual and technological knowledge mediated by the ether. These civilizations, she argued, were guided by higher beings, possibly extraterrestrial or interdimensional, who used the ether to influence human evolution. While her claims were controversial and criticized as pseudoscientific, they inspired a generation of occultists and laid the foundation for the New Age movement. Rudolf Steiner, 1861–1925, a former theosophist who founded anthroposophy, expanded on Blavatsky's ideas. Steiner described the ether as a dynamic, life-giving force, distinguishing between the physical ether, a subtle material medium, and the cosmic ether, a spiritual force. In his lectures, compiled in works like Theosophy, An Introduction to the Spiritual Processes in Human Life and in the Cosmos, Steiner argued that the etheric body, a subtle energy field surrounding the physical body, was the seat of vitality and consciousness. This etheric body enabled psychic abilities and spiritual perception, allowing individuals to connect with higher planes of existence. Steiner's emphasis on direct spiritual perception, clairvoyance, suggested that the ether was a medium for contacting non-physical entities, including spiritual guides or advanced intelligences. Steiner also speculated about cosmic evolution, suggesting that humanity's spiritual development was influenced by beings from higher dimensions. While he did not explicitly discuss extraterrestrial civilizations, his concept of the spiritual hierarchies implies a cosmos populated by advanced entities that interact with humanity through the etheric plane. His ideas influenced later esoteric movements and remain relevant in anthroposophical circles today. Nikola Tesla, 1856–1943, though primarily a scientist, contributed to the ether's metaphysical narrative through his unconventional views. Tesla rejected Einstein's relativity and clung to the 19th century concept of the luminiferous ether, which he believed was a dynamic medium for electromagnetic waves and energy transmission. In interviews, Tesla hinted at the ether's role in metaphysical phenomena, suggesting it could facilitate communication with other dimensions or intelligences. He famously claimed to have received signals from extraterrestrial sources, possibly through the ether, during experiments in Colorado Springs in 1899. While Tesla's scientific peers dismissed these claims, his ideas resonated with occultists who saw the ether as a bridge to paranormal and extraterrestrial realms. Tesla's vision of free energy and wireless communication also paralleled esoteric notions of tapping into universal forces, suggesting a convergence of science and metaphysics. Manly P. Hall, 1901–1990, a prolific esoteric scholar, further synthesized the ether's role in metaphysics. In his magnum opus, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, 1928, Hall described the ether as a universal medium that connects the physical and spiritual worlds. He drew on ancient traditions, including Egyptian, Greek, and Hermetic philosophies, to argue that the ether was the substance through which divine intelligence manifested. Hall also explored the concept of elementals and spiritual beings, suggesting that the ether was their medium of interaction with humanity. His lectures, such as those on Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, emphasized the ether's role in psychic phenomena and its potential connection to advanced civilizations, including those from Atlantis or extraterrestrial origins. Hall's work bridged ancient wisdom with modern occultism, making the ether accessible to a broader audience. Walter Russell, 1871–1963, a polymath and mystic, offered a unique perspective on the ether through his philosophy of light and cosmic consciousness. In works like The Secret of Light, 1947, Russell proposed that the universe is composed of light and that the ether is a dynamic, intelligent medium through which divine thought manifests. He described the ether as a universal mind that connects all beings, enabling spiritual communication and psychic phenomena. Russell's cosmology included the idea of advanced intelligences, potentially extraterrestrial or interdimensional, that guide humanity's evolution through the ether. His emphasis on light as the fundamental substance of creation aligns with modern speculations about plasma-light beings, entities composed of ionized energy that may inhabit higher dimensions or subtle realms. Russell's ideas, though speculative, influenced New Age thinkers and continue to inspire those exploring the intersection of science and spirituality. Plasma-light beings and interdimensional contact. The concept of plasma-light beings, entities composed of ionized plasma or subtle energy, emerges from modern esoteric and fringe scientific theories. These beings are often associated with the ether as a medium that allows their manifestation or interaction with the physical world. In ancient Egyptian and Greek traditions, divine beings like the Neteru or celestial gods were sometimes described as radiant or luminous, suggesting a connection to light-based entities. Blavatsky's Mahatmas and Steiner's spiritual hierarchies further imply the existence of advanced beings that operate through the ether, possibly as plasma-like entities. In contemporary contexts, plasma-like beings are linked to UFO phenomena and theories of extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or crypto-terrestrial civilizations. Crypto-terrestrials, advanced beings living hidden on Earth, have been proposed by researchers like John Keel and Jacques Vallée, who suggest that such entities may manipulate the ether to interact with humanity. The ether, as a non-physical medium, could enable these beings to shift between dimensions or manifest as luminous orbs or apparitions, often reported in paranormal encounters. While scientific evidence for such beings is lacking, their prevalence in esoteric literature reflects the enduring allure of the ether as a bridge to the unknown. The ether in modern mystery schools. Modern mystery schools, such as the Rosicrucians, Freemasons, and Theosophical offshoots, continue to explore the ether's metaphysical significance. These traditions view the ether as a medium for spiritual initiation, psychic development, and contact with higher intelligences. For example, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, influenced by Blavatsky, incorporated the ether into rituals designed to access astral planes and communicate with spiritual entities. The ether's role in these practices underscores its function as a universal connector, linking the material to the divine. Speculative connections to extraterrestrial and interdimensional civilizations. The idea of advanced extraterrestrial or interdimensional civilizations interacting through the ether remains speculative but pervasive in esoteric thought. Blavatsky's claims of contact with Mahatmas, Tesla's alleged extraterrestrial signals, and Russell's cosmic consciousness suggest a belief in intelligences that transcend physical limitations. Modern ufology often frames these entities as interdimensional, rather than purely extraterrestrial, operating through a medium like the ether to manifest in our reality. Crypto-terrestrial theories, while controversial, propose that such beings may have coexisted with humanity, using the ether to remain hidden or to influence human development. Conclusion: the ether has been a central concept in metaphysical and esoteric traditions for millennia, evolving from the primordial waters of ancient Egypt to Plato's celestial fifth element, and from Blavatsky's universal medium to modern speculations about plasma-light beings and interdimensional contact. Figures like Blavatsky, Steiner, Tesla, Hall, and Russell have each contributed to this rich tapestry, blending ancient wisdom with modern insights. While the scientific community largely abandoned the ether in the 20th century, its enduring presence in occult and metaphysical thought reflects humanity's quest to understand the unseen forces that connect the material and spiritual worlds. Whether as a medium for psychic phenomena, a conduit for divine intelligence, or a bridge to advanced civilizations, the ether remains a potent symbol of the mysteries that lie beyond the veil. Notes on sources and speculation. This essay draws on historical and philosophical texts, including Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, Steiner's Theosophy, and Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. Tesla's views are derived from his interviews and writings, though his extraterrestrial claims lack primary source verification. Russell's ideas are sourced from The Secret of Light. Speculative elements such as plasma-light beings and crypto-terrestrial civilizations are based on esoteric literature and modern ufology, but lack empirical evidence. These ideas are included to reflect the user's request, but should be approached critically. The essay avoids fabricating information and notes where claims are controversial or unverified, aligning with the instruction to critically examine narratives. Melanin, the sun, the cosmos, and the third eye, a spiritual nexus for African and Black melanated peoples. Melanin, often described as the pigment responsible for the rich hues of African and Black skin, hair, and eyes, is far more than a biological trait. It is a profound connector to the sun, the cosmos, and the spiritual essence of African and Black melanated peoples, often linked to the third eye or pineal gland in metaphysical traditions. This essay explores the intricate relationships between these elements, weaving together science, culture, and spirituality to illuminate their significance in the African diaspora and beyond. Melanin and the sun, a cosmic dance. Melanin, derived from the amino acid tyrosine, is a complex polymer that absorbs and dissipates ultraviolet (UV) rays from the sun, protecting the skin while facilitating vitamin D synthesis. For African and Black peoples, whose ancestral homelands lie in sun-drenched regions like sub-Saharan Africa, melanin is a biological adaptation to intense solar radiation. Beyond its physiological role, melanin is often revered in African spiritual traditions as a gift from the cosmos, a medium through which the sun's energy is harnessed and transformed. The sun, a universal symbol of life and divinity in African cosmologies, holds a central place in spiritual practices. In ancient Kemet, Egypt, the sun god Ra was the source of creation, embodying the life-giving energy that permeates all existence. Melanin, as a solar absorber, is seen by some African spiritual scholars as a conduit for this divine energy, linking melanated bodies directly to the sun's cosmic power. This connection is not merely metaphorical. Melanin's ability to convert light into energy mirrors photosynthesis, suggesting a profound biological and spiritual alignment with the cosmos. The pineal gland, the third eye, and spiritual awakening. The pineal gland, a small endocrine organ in the brain, is often associated with the third eye in spiritual traditions worldwide, including those of African and Black cultures. This gland produces melatonin, a hormone regulating sleep and circadian rhythms, and is sensitive to light. In metaphysical contexts, the pineal gland is considered a gateway to higher consciousness, intuition, and spiritual insight. Its connection to melanin is twofold. Both are light-sensitive, and both are central to African spiritual narratives that emphasize inner vision and cosmic awareness. In African traditions, such as those of the Dogon of Mali or the Yoruba of Nigeria, the third eye symbolizes the ability to perceive beyond the physical realm, accessing ancestral wisdom and universal truths. The pineal gland's role in regulating melatonin, a derivative of melanin, underscores its significance in these traditions. Some scholars and spiritualists argue that melanin enhances the pineal gland's sensitivity to cosmic energies, enabling melanated individuals to tap into heightened states of consciousness. While scientific evidence for this is limited, the cultural resonance of these ideas is profound, particularly in Afrocentric spiritual movements. Melanin and the cosmos, a universal connection. The cosmos, vast and infinite, is a cornerstone of African spiritualities, which often view humanity as an integral part of the universal order. The Dogon people, for instance, possess intricate astronomical knowledge, including details about the Sirius star system, which they attribute to ancestral and cosmic wisdom. Melanin, as a substance that interacts with light, the fundamental medium of the cosmos, positions African and Black peoples as uniquely attuned to celestial rhythms. Some Afrocentric thinkers propose that melanin acts as a cosmic antenna, amplifying spiritual and intuitive connections to the universe. This perspective is echoed in the works of scholars like Dr. Ivan van Sertima and Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop, who highlight the scientific and spiritual sophistication of African civilizations. Melanin, in this context, is not just a pigment but a bridge between the earthly and the divine, grounding African and Black peoples in a cosmic narrative that predates and transcends colonial disruptions. Spirituality of African and Black melanated peoples. The spirituality of African and Black melanated peoples is deeply rooted in interconnectedness with the sun, the cosmos, and the inner self. Practices like those of the Akan, who revere Nyame, the supreme creator associated with the sky, or the Vodou traditions of Haiti, emphasize harmony with natural and cosmic forces. Melanin, as a physical and symbolic link to these forces, is often celebrated as a marker of divine heritage. The third eye, or pineal gland, plays a critical role in these spiritual frameworks. In Kemetic spirituality, the Eye of Horus represents protection, wholeness, and spiritual vision, paralleling the third eye's role in perceiving hidden truths. For African and Black peoples, whose histories have been marked by resilience against oppression, the third eye symbolizes an inner strength and clarity that transcends material struggles, connecting them to ancestral and cosmic power. Challenges in modern context. In contemporary times, the spiritual significance of melanin and the third eye has been reclaimed in movements like Afrofuturism, which blends African heritage with cosmic and futuristic themes. Artists, writers, and thinkers like Sun Ra and Octavia Butler have envisioned Blackness as a cosmic force, with melanin as a key to unlocking universal potential. However, these ideas are sometimes met with skepticism, as they blend science, spirituality, and speculation. Critics argue that romanticizing melanin risks oversimplifying its biological role, while proponents see it as a reclamation of African agency in a world that has often marginalized Black narratives. Conclusion. The interplay of melanin, the sun, the cosmos, the pineal gland, and African and Black spirituality forms a rich tapestry of meaning. Melanin, as a biological and symbolic connector to the sun's energy, aligns melanated peoples with the cosmic order. The pineal gland, as the third eye, serves as a spiritual conduit for intuition and universal wisdom. Together, these elements underscore the profound spirituality of African and Black peoples, whose cosmologies celebrate interconnectedness with the divine, the natural, and the celestial. In a world increasingly open to diverse narratives, this nexus offers a powerful lens through which to understand the enduring resilience and spiritual depth of the African diaspora. Radiance of melanin, a metaphorical and scientific likeness to photosynthesis. In the tapestry of human existence, the rich, dark skin of Black melanated peoples stands as a profound testament to the beauty and resilience of life. Often celebrated for its cultural and aesthetic significance, melanin, the pigment responsible for the deep hues of Black skin, shares a striking metaphorical and scientific likeness to photosynthesis, the process by which plants harness sunlight to create life-sustaining energy. This essay explores how melanin, like chlorophyll in plants, captures and transforms light, serving as a bridge between the physical, cultural, and spiritual dimensions of Black identity and the natural world. Melanin is a biological marvel. At its core, melanin is a biological pigment produced by melanocytes in the skin, hair, and eyes. It exists in various forms, but eumelanin, predominant in darker skin tones, is particularly adept at absorbing ultraviolet (UV) light. This absorption protects the skin from harmful radiation, reducing the risk of damage and disease. Scientifically, melanin's ability to capture and dissipate light energy mirrors the function of chlorophyll, the green pigment in plants that absorb sunlight to drive photosynthesis. Just as chlorophyll converts light into chemical energy to fuel plant growth, melanin transforms UV light into harmless heat, shielding the body from harm. This parallel is not merely functional but poetic. Photosynthesis is the foundation of life on Earth, converting solar energy into the sugars that sustain ecosystems. Similarly, melanin has been a cornerstone of human survival, enabling Black peoples to thrive in sun-drenched regions like sub-Saharan Africa, where intense sunlight demanded robust biological adaptations. The resilience of melanated skin allowed early humans to endure harsh environments, much like plants rely on chlorophyll to flourish under the sun's unrelenting gaze. A cultural and spiritual connection. Beyond biology, the likeness between melanin and photosynthesis extends into the cultural and spiritual realms. In many African and diasporic traditions, the sun is revered as a source of life, vitality, and divine energy. Black skin, rich with melanin, is often described as sun-kissed or radiant, embodying a connection to the cosmos. Just as plants orient themselves toward the sun to maximize light absorption, Black cultures have long celebrated their affinity with the sun's energy. From ancient Egyptian sun gods like Ra to modern Afrocentric philosophies that honor solar symbolism, this connection is not merely symbolic but deeply rooted in lived experience. The resilience of Black peoples, through centuries of adversity, from the transatlantic slave trade to systemic oppression, mirrors the tenacity of plants that adapt to challenging environments. Photosynthesis allows plants to transform scarcity into abundance, converting light, water, and carbon dioxide into sustenance. Similarly, Black communities have transformed historical pain into cultural richness, creating vibrant art, music, and traditions that radiate life and hope. Melanin as an energy transformer. Scientifically, melanin's role as an energy transformer offers further parallels to photosynthesis. Recent research suggests that melanin may possess properties beyond UV protection, potentially acting as a semiconductor or even converting light into metabolic energy in certain organisms. While these findings are preliminary in humans, they evoke the possibility that melanin, like chlorophyll, could play a broader role in energy dynamics. For instance, studies on fungi like Cryptococcus neoformans show that melanin can enhance growth in the presence of radiation, hinting at a photosynthetic-like process. This emerging science invites a provocative metaphor. Black melanated peoples with their richly pigmented skin embody a kind of human photosynthesis. Their melanin captures the sun's energy, not only protecting but potentially energizing their bodies and spirits. This idea resonates with ancestral knowledge in many African cultures, where dark skin was seen as a gift of strength and vitality, a conduit for the sun's life-giving power. Challenges and misconceptions. Despite these parallels, the comparison between melanin and photosynthesis must be approached with nuance. Misconceptions, such as pseudoscientific claims that melanin grants superhuman abilities, can oversimplify or sensationalize its role. While melanin's protective and potentially energetic properties are remarkable, they are grounded in biology, not mysticism. Similarly, photosynthesis is a complex process, not a magical transformation. Both systems, melanin and chlorophyll, operate within the constraints of natural laws, yet their elegance lies in their efficiency and adaptability. Moreover, the celebration of melanin must not erase the social realities faced by Black peoples. The same skin that absorbs light so beautifully has been stigmatized by racism and colorism, often weaponized to marginalize. Yet, like plants that grow through cracks in concrete, Black communities have reclaimed their melanated identity as a source of pride, resilience, and beauty. Much like photosynthesis transforms adversity into sustenance. A vision of unity, the likeness between melanin and photosynthesis offers a powerful lens for understanding human interconnectedness with nature. Just as plants sustain the planet through photosynthesis, Black melanated peoples have sustained cultural and social ecosystems through their contributions to art, science, and justice. Their melanin, like chlorophyll, is a bridge between the individual and the universal, grounding them in the Earth's rhythms while reaching toward the sun. In conclusion, the metaphor of Black melanated peoples as akin to photosynthesis is both a scientific curiosity and a cultural celebration. Melanin, like chlorophyll, captures light to protect and empower, embodying resilience and transformation. This likeness invites us to honor the biological brilliance of Black skin, the cultural radiance of Black identity, and the shared dependence of all life on the sun's energy. As we reflect on this connection, we are reminded that, like plants in a vast forest, humanity thrives through diversity, interdependence, and the shared light of existence.
First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been. Oh, ooh, the way that things have been. Oh, ooh. Second thing, second, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of my sea. Oh, ooh, the master of my sea. Oh, ooh. I was broken from a young age, taking my soak into the masses, writing my poems for the few that look at me, took at me, shook at me, feeling me, singing from heartache, from the pain, taking my message from the veins, speaking my lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the